What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Before I get into this video, if you want to show some love to the channel, you could donate to the link in the description box below this video. It'd be much appreciated. Um, Final score, Houston Rockets win 112 to 108 over the Golden State Warriors. This was a must-win game for the Houston Rockets. And unlike the inept Boston Celtics, they stepped up to the challenge and won a must-win game. The series is tied 2-2, and the next game, of course, will be in Oracle Arena. Uh, for the Houston Rockets, James Harden led all scorers in the game, actually, with 38 points, had 10 rebounds, 4 assists. James Harden, he had a good game offensively. Bricked a little bit in the fourth quarter. But I did like the fact that, and Shaquille O'Neal mentioned this on Inside NBA. I like the fact that he mixed it up a little bit, especially early on. He was mixing it up. I don't like when James Harden settles for that outside, shot, that 3-pointer. You know what I'm saying? I think that's when he becomes. That's the James Harden that I don't like. When he just consistently settles for that long range 3-pointer, you know what I'm saying? And in today's NBA, these guys don't just shoot 23, 24 foot 3-pointers. These guys shoot 28, 29, 30 footers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's exciting to watch when they make them, but it's still a relatively lower percentage shot. Um, Chris Paul was good. Chris Paul was actually very good in the second half, man, on offense and defense. Chris Paul had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, had a couple of steals. Eric Gordon had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Eric Gordon did a lot of his damage. I think it was in the second and third quarters of this game. At one point in time, Houston had a 17-point lead, but the Golden State Warriors were able to come back into the game, and they nearly tied the game at the end of this game. You know what I'm saying? Houston dodged a bullet toward the end, man. But the guy that really, to me, in my opinion, you can make it a case that he was the player of the game for Houston, and that's PJ Tucker. Okay, PJ Tucker, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, but it wasn't just the numbers with him. Um, there were a number of possessions, offensive rebounds, where he gave the Rockets extra possessions. You know what I'm saying? Especially down the stretch of this game. His defense. All right. I think I remember him getting like a pivotal steal. I think it was against Kevin Durant. Um, Clutch shots. You know what I'm saying? Beasting down low. Beasting PJ Tucker. You know what I'm saying? Eric Gordon has been really big the last couple of games, man. He's averaging 25 points per game his last 2 games for the Houston Rockets. Austin Rivers had 10 points. Iman Shumpert, uh, 5 points. Shumpert pissed me off a little bit in this game, man. I remember there was a wide open layup, man. A wide open layup this guy had, man. And somehow he found a way to blow that. Clint Capella, 6 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, pretty good. And Houston, I think, took 53 points. That's a playoff high. I think they made 17. Let me see. Yeah, there was 17 of 50 from 3-point range, 34%, which is pretty good. The free throw uh, disparity was only one more for Houston. Um, Golden State actually only shot 70% from the free throw line, which is very low for them, considering that you have Klay Thompson, who's like an 83% free throw shooter. You have Kevin Durant, who's a career 88% free throw shooter, and Steph Curry, who is statistically the greatest free throw shooter in history of the NBA, and they only shoot 69.6%. Houston won the rebounding battle 50-43. What else I want to look at? Golden State actually had fewer turnovers and actually scored more points in the paint. Um, let's see. For the Warriors, Kevin Durant had 34 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He started off slowly, but got it going in the third and fourth quarters. And Kevin Durant nearly hit a game time 3-pointer in the waning seconds of this game. Stephen Curry came out of nowhere and had 30 points. He had a big first quarter. I think he had 11 points in the first quarter. Then he was quiet for the second and third quarters for the most part. And then he just blew up in the fourth quarter. All right. And like I said, after Kevin Durant missed what would have been a game time 3-pointer in the last seconds of the game, uh, Stephen Curry, um, first the Warriors got an offensive rebound, and Stephen Curry got a good look, but I think it was a little bit deep. I mean, not that Curry can't hit a deep three, but it was a little bit of a deep look, and I think it came up a little bit. Was it wide left? Can't remember, but Houston almost kind of blew this game. I think in my opinion, I think if Golden State had tied that game, I suspect Golden State would have won. I might be wrong on that one. You know what I'm saying? It's all hypothetical anyway. But I gotta say it, man. Klay Thompson, where were you, man? I mean, Klay Thompson shot like shit. I don't know his overall field goal percentage, but I know at one point in the game, I think he was like 1 of 7 from 3-point range. It's kind of odd because oftentimes in the playoffs, it's Stephen Curry that gets criticized for not stepping up sometimes in critical games, and it's Klay Thompson that hits critical baskets down the juncture for the Golden State Warriors. But Klay Thompson was not there offensively for the Golden State Warriors. One thing that I liked about Houston, man, watching this game is Houston Rockets have absolutely no, and I mean this in the the best way possible that this statement can be made. The Houston Rockets have no respect for the Golden State Warriors. Now, don't get me wrong; they respect the Golden State Warriors as a team that has that you have to respect in the sense that they're a great team. What I mean is that from the body language watching them play, you don't get the impression that they're intimidated, nor do they feel like they can't beat this team. They were physical with Golden State throughout most of this game. They competed well, and for the most part, a little bit got a little bit shaky in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, they out hustled the Golden State Warriors in a lot of ways, man. In the fourth quarter, though, Golden State started getting a lot of offensive rebounds, and that's when they started getting back into the game, and Kevin Durant really started getting it going offensively. You know what I'm saying? But I got to say this again, man. If you're watching these games, right? If you're watching these games and you still feel like Kevin Durant is not the best player on the Warriors, I don't know what the fuck you're watching. I'm sorry. I just don't know what you're looking at anymore. Like, Kevin Durant clearly is the best player on this team. And I had a subscriber say that he thinks that Durant's a little bit overrated because if he doesn't score, then what does he contribute? I mean, this is my thing. Kevin Durant is an improved defensive player. I'm not saying he's got Darren, Dennis Rodman out there, but he's an improved defender from his Oklahoma City Thunder days. He's a more than capable rebounder, all right? And he's an improved passer. Much improved from his first couple of years he played in the NBA. So he can affect the game in a lot of ways that people just focus on the scoring. But I mean, he's such a great scorer that it's like saying, well, if Mark McGwire don't hit home runs, I mean, that's the only thing he does. Well, I mean, come on, man. The guy's arguably he's the greatest power hitter statistically in the history of Major League Baseball. So, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest scorers ever, okay? And he's doing what he's doing on a team with other great scorers. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm convinced if Kevin Durant was in more of if it was a team constructed around Kevin Durant the way he's playing now, um, maybe the spacing wouldn't be as great, and maybe his efficiency would go down just a tad. Maybe like 48, 49% instead of 50 or 51%, or maybe 47%, whatever. But I'm convinced that he would lead the NBA in scoring. Now, I know James Harden just had a year where he got the green light of all green lights, but you can't expect James Harden to average 35, 36 points per game every year. That's just, that's just not going to happen again. I'm seriously doubting that's going to happen again. But Houston won a really big game, man. But I still think that Golden State's going to win this series. I have to be convinced that Golden State's going to lose. Okay, like I got to see it. I got to see the buzzer sounding and Golden State being eliminated. Like that's the only way I can believe it. Other than that, what I'm saying, I just can't doubt the champs. I can't. But if any team can beat them, if any team can beat these guys in the Western Conference, it's the Houston Rockets, because I just don't have faith in Denver. I just don't have faith in them. I know Charles Barkley has faith in Portland. I think Portland's a really good team, man, but I just can't see Portland beating. Matter of fact, honestly, now that I'm watching the playoffs, like is unfolding. I don't think Portland can beat any one of these two teams, Houston or Golden State, in the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think they can. When I watch Houston tonight, I saw a team that really believe they can beat Golden State. People say that shit in series, like in post games. We can compete with anybody, but they don't really believe it deep down inside. But watching Houston, I can tell they think they can. They don't just think it. I think they know they can beat Golden State. I think last year, I like the way they used it. Last year, the way they had that historic choke job, a lot of teams, a lot of players can let that get into their heads. Oh man, they started missing shots and second guessing themselves. No, they used that as motivation. They was like, you know what? It took a historic choke job, like a historic ineptitude offensively, missing 27 3-pointers in a row, and not having Chris Paul, and we still only lost by 6 or 8 points. We can beat these dudes. And that's how they feel. But in order to do it, they're going to have to win at Golden State. They're going to have to win at Oracle. And I really think that if they're going to do it, they've got to win Game 5. You know what I'm saying? It's not the be-all, end-all. I remember the Knicks led the Rockets 3-2 in the 1994 NBA Finals, looking like they had the edge. That's when the finals was still 2-3-2. And then the last two games at Houston, they lost. Then in 2010 NBA Finals, I think it was still 2-3-2 format. Remember, Boston was up 3-2 against the Lakers, and ultimately they lost the last two games of that series. So it's not a be-all, end-all if Houston goes down 3-2. But, you know what I'm saying, like, psychologically it would just be such an advantage for them to get that victory, man. But tell me what you guys think, man, about this game. This is some great playoff basketball, man. I'm telling you, man. I'm loving these playoffs so far.